We are talking today about something juicy that I don't see a lot of people talking about. So I'm excited for this topic. We're talking about how to overcome your fear of visibility as you build your brand. And apologies too for the late start. Sonia, good morning. So good to see you. Tuesdays and Thursdays are my later workout days at the gym. The class is 30 minutes later, so I was like trying to get home from the gym and do something up here. And in full disclosure, I had to stop at the grocery store and pick up some canned pumpkin because I'm that girl and I want to cook pumpkin muffins this afternoon. I'm like so excited. It's getting close to fall. Let me say good morning. Sherry is coming in. Sierra, Patty, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me ask you this. As we come in, as always, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pop me a comment. Let me know you're here. I am curious. How do we want to ask this question? So we're talking about how to overcome your fear of visibility as you build your personal brand. Is this a thing for you? I think that's what I want to know in the comments. Like, is this a thing for you? Is there any fear of visibility going on? Is there fear of judgment? Is there concern about haters? Like, tell me in the comments or give me some hearts if you're on Instagram and let me know if that's something that is present for you right now. And this was inspired by a couple different things. So one is I've got an amazing interview for you on the podcast this week with, her name's Robin Graham, and she's a personal brand strategist. And so we talk all things personal branding. And so definitely go listen to that episode if you haven't yet. It's so good. But, I had the privilege and the pleasure of helping to start a company a few years ago in the personal branding space, Brand Builders Group. And I think it's one of the best in the world at this. And it's from like a tactical strategy standpoint. I don't know that there's anybody else who teaches it better. But what I've found in working with so many clients now on their brands and on their visibility is that even with all the right strategies for building your brand, if you've got some sort of story running in your head about like, it's not safe to be visible, or you've got some sort of programming that's, I want everyone to like me. And if I say what I really think, what I really mean, then my business is going to implode. I'm not going to get customers. And I can relate. So I'll share a little bit of my own story there too. Let me just chop. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when I like fly from getting ready onto the lives. Let me stop and read comments. Oh, Elizabeth, good morning. Okay. Sierra is saying, definitely concerned about judgment, physically going and marketing at locations during the pandemic. I don't want to come off insensitive to what's going on, but still want to be visible. So I get very torn. Got it. Okay. And then comments over, Kalua, good morning. Jen, you're saying this is 100% your number one problem. Laura, yes, fear of being seen and feeling exposed. Okay, so this is a thing, right? This is a thing. And I get this too. So if this is a thing for you, just know like you're not alone. I understand. I've had my own journey with this, which I'll share with you. One moment. Y'all know the Halloween mugs are popping in the Archer Robistelli household already. So, okay, so my own journey. For so many years, how I generated customers, made money, built my business, was teaching very tactical sales strategies. How do you close new customers? How do you handle objections? How do you prospect? How do you use LinkedIn? And I knew it like the back of my hand. And I was very comfortable teaching it as well, because people can't really say, like, there's not a whole lot of like judgment that comes with teaching a closing strategy or teaching a prospecting strategy. And it was a very successful, I kind of like, I do with you here, like live streams. I did it wasn't live streams, but I did like a video a couple times a week where I would teach a sales strategy. And that was my comfort zone. And I built a brand around that. And that was a very successful, that was a successful business for me. And my own, for those of you who are clients or like, you've been here for a while, when those were the only things I was focused on in my own life, and for my own business growth, I found that I stayed stuck at a certain level. So no matter what I did, I kept bringing in roughly the same amount of money every month. I always felt fear and anxiety and like scarcity about whether clients were going to leave. And, but I didn't know any different. And then I went on my own very powerful, really, it was a healing journey, working with spiritual teachers, doing inner child work, learning about the frequency of money, learning about universal laws, like all of those things. And it was insane how quickly things changed for me. I 10x'd my income in 6 weeks. And when I've applied these same principles, thank you for the hearts. And by the way, welcome, Laura, Nola, Jan, great to see you this morning. When I applied these same principles for my clients, that's where the explosive results came from as well. And so when I was thinking about, especially like launching this live stream series and, starting to talk more about this stuff earlier this year, there was part of me that felt very uncomfortable sharing that. There was part of me that felt very uncomfortable sharing the spiritual aspect of what I believe in. There was part of me that felt very uncomfortable speaking about things like universal laws, because so many of my clients up until that point had been corporate, and it was like, you just don't talk about that stuff there. And so there was definitely some fear of judgment. Okay. It was way out of my comfort zone. But I also knew that it was a massive disservice to not share the things that I knew actually worked. Because when I discovered these for myself, it was like, this is the missing link in most people's business coaching, sales coaching, etc. Like, you can have the best script and the best process in the world. And can I teach that? Am I good at it? Yes. But it doesn't, number one, like I've seen in my own life and in the lives of my clients, that will only get you so far. If you feel unworthy of making more money, if you don't know how universal laws work, if you don't know about how money works energetically, if you haven't done the healing work and your inner 7-year-old is running the show for you, you're only going to reach a certain level of success in your sales and in your business. And so I knew it was a massive disservice to not share what I had seen truly work and create not just progress, but quantum leap type progress in my life and in my clients' lives as well. And so I just want to share with you again, like, if you feel like, I know, I think it was Laura on here said, like, fear of like feeling exposed, right? If there's any of that, Kalu was saying you're working through this now. Like, I get it. I understand. But what I will also share, and I'm going to share with you today, 3 tips, 3 things that have helped me overcome that fear, and that you can implement as well. Thank you so much for the hearts. You have to do it. Like, it is not an option today to be visible for most people. Like, does everyone need to be? No. But if you're running your business, if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're in sales, working for somebody else, like, people buy from people at the end of the day. And you want to really learn to think about yourself as a media company today. Like, I don't care what you do, the way that you generate clients and the way that you generate leads is you've got to learn to think of yourself as a media company. And so you got to be visible, right? But we want to get through any of the mental clutter and head trash and limiting beliefs around that so that we can do it more powerfully, right? So that's really what this is about, is how do we eliminate those limiting beliefs, those fears around visibility, those fears around being exposed? Because I've known and I've seen in my own life how when I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna talk about it and just like really show up in the most powerful way that I know how. That was what changed everything in my life, in my business, for my clients as well. And I can tell you right now, whatever the thing is that you're afraid of doing, whatever the thing is that is scaring you about being visible, putting yourself out there, etc., that will free you. That is the thing that is going to unlock everything for you in your business, in your life, etc. It's always the thing that you're afraid of that you got to do to unlock your next level. It just is what it is. So with that, so here's 3 things that you can do to help you overcome your fear of visibility as you build your personal brand. Okay. As always, I just want to also welcome Gail. Oh, Jamie, good morning. Oh my gosh. I love seeing my ladies on here. Let me know if you have questions on this, please, in the comments. Like, if there's a specific fear you have, pop it in the comments. Let me know. And I'd love to help you work through it. The first thing, and it applies to everything, but it also applies to building your personal brand. You got to have an abundance mindset. Okay. You've got to have an abundance mindset. You are not meant to be for everyone, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to be your customer either. And by the way, it looks like we've got this, as many of you do, tropical storm going through. So if I've got low bandwidth on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, come join me on Instagram. The signal seems to be a little better over here. So I apologize if there's any choppiness, but I think Instagram is a little bit better this morning. You do not need everyone to be your client. And in fact, I had this great guy, Jesse T. He goes by on the podcast a few weeks ago, very successful financial advisor. And he shared, like, for us to be cranking and to be like bringing in the amount of revenue I want every month, we need 100 customers. That's it. And part of my experience with, when I was in corporate sales was I felt a lot of pressure to like sell everyone. Now, granted, that was a lot of self-imposed pressure from me of like feeling unworthy if I wasn't constantly at the top of the leaderboard. So a lot of that was my own doing, not blaming anybody other than myself. But what I found is that oftentimes we don't stop to like run the numbers and just say like, how many clients do I actually need to achieve my revenue goal this month, this quarter, this year? Because you probably don't need, 7 billion. You probably need, I don't know, depending on what you sell, 10, 50, 100, maybe one or two if you're selling high ticket. So we got to have an abundance mindset. And I've learned to really lean in to the things that I used to be afraid of about sharing about myself and put them out there, like put them very visibly out there. So right now, if you ever come on one of my group calls, if you ever come into one of my master classes, my webinars, you'll hear me say right up front, like, I use the language God, Spirit, Universe, because that's part of what, in my own experience, has unlocked everything in my life and for my clients. And if that is not if that doesn't resonate with you, it's no problem for me. I don't care. But this probably isn't going to be it's probably not going to feel like a great use of your time. And, even yesterday, I was on an application call with a new client who's he's a CEO of a very rapidly growing company. Like they're going to hit multi 7 figures in the first year. And he reached out to me about coaching him. And I asked him up front, like, do you have a spiritual connection? Like, I don't care what it is, but if you're wanting to, deepen your understanding of money, if you're wanting to learn how money actually works, if you're wanting to, become the type of person who can really lead a company that's continuing to grow at this rate, we're going to need to be able to talk about that. And whatever your language is, again, I don't care, but we're going to need to be able to talk about that. So I've learned to just lean in with those things that used to make me really uncomfortable to share about myself, knowing that there's more than enough clients. So if you're taking notes, if you're writing this down, like there's more than enough clients for you. There's more than enough opportunities for you. And in fact, the more we've talked about this before, like the more you lean back and allow your potential clients to like almost sell you on why they want to work with you and why they're a good fit to work with you, you're going to find you have a much easier experience in sales, and you're going to generate far more clients too, because there's something about you being in your power and being willing to turn somebody away who's not the right fit, that for the right people will attract them. And there's like, it, right? You know it in your gut, you know it in your core when you're about to take on a client just because you think you need the money and it doesn't feel good and it never ends. Those are never the clients that you love working with, right? It doesn't work well for them. It doesn't work well for you. And so we've got to learn to really have that abundance mindset. And then the second part of that, Laura's saying it is a better connection over here on Instagram. Okay, good. So hang with me, y'all. If connection is not working well in other places, come hang with me over on Instagram. The second part of that is I've learned to really welcome haters. And as I said, like, I don't have a ton. I've certainly had them. I don't have a ton, like actively commenting on all this stuff. But, what I believe, and I've experienced this in my own life when I do have them, is like, haters are your secret fans. Haters are your secret fans. Anybody who is willing to take the time to write a comment or to watch all your stuff and then tell you why you're wrong or tell you why you're crazy. Like, they are very attracted to you. They are very attracted to you. And there's part of you that is in themselves that is either not developed or not healed. And you're just mirroring it back to them. That's a part of them that's really wounding and hurting. So we just want to have love for them. Like, that's it. We just want to have love and empathy and be like, you know what? I just be grateful that, that's not your life, that there's, that you don't have so much pain in your heart that you take the time to put really negative comments on other people's stuff, And so I would almost reframe it and flip it and say, your goal is to have as many haters as you can. Like, if you're really thinking about building your brand and getting out there, if you look at, I don't care who it is. Like, I was listening a while back to, who was it? It was Lewis Howes and then somebody else. It was a great interview. Like, I was watching it on YouTube. I thought it was phenomenal. And I go and I look at the comments and it's like 90% of people are raving about how great it is. And then 10% are like, this is BS, like, you're crazy, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't care who it is. If Mother Teresa were still with us, she would have haters. Jesus had haters, right? Like, pick your person who you really admire. They had haters. So what if you flipped it? And what if you decided that your goal was to have as many haters as possible? Because you'll probably have, out of your audience, you'll probably have like 5 or 10% haters, and the rest will be, raving fans in a positive way. But when you're growing, that means you're going to have that. And so if there's a fear of haters, what that usually is that's like inner child work that needs to be done. Because that's your little girl or your little boy who got rejected at some point, moved to a new school, got rejected at the lunch table. Were told to like stop speaking up so much, that they were to this, to that, by parents or by whoever. And that's your inner little child who is afraid of the haters. That's not like your highest self, right? So that's why the healing work is so important and needs to be done. Because again, going back to what we said at the beginning, like what I teach now that I was afraid to talk about at the beginning, but it's true. Like, you can't have your inner 7-year-old running your business and your sales. It just doesn't work. So with haters, does that help anybody reframe their fear about haters? Like, we just love them and we move on. That's it. Laura is saying this is, oh, good. This is all resonating. I'm so glad, Laura. That's awesome. Michelle, good morning. Let me just pop clue on Facebook. Haters are your secret fans. Yeah, exactly. Like any like it's true. The amount of attention they're willing to give you, they like you. Like they just are verbalizing it in an ineffective way, but they're really into you. They're interested in you. They like you. So they're your fans. And then the third step is just do it. Like, just do it. Whatever the thing is that you want to do to grow your visibility and your personal brand, you just got to do it. Like, take the first step. The first time I did a live stream several years ago, it wasn't even that long ago. It was like several years ago. I was so nervous. This is like I think I drank a little bit of wine ahead of time because I was so nervous. I was sweating. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't have the right words? And what if I mess up? And what if everybody's watching? Can anybody relate to that? Like, those are the silly fears that run through our minds, but they feel real. And what happened was, first of all, almost no one was on it because I'd never done a live stream. And so they were like doing their own thing, So that's the first thing to know is, especially at the beginning, nobody's really watching. So that's a great time to mess up. And then as soon as I did it, it was no longer some big nebulous fear in my mind holding me back. It was like, oh, that was actually kind of fun. Like it was fun. I didn't die. I enjoyed it. And I like, the only comments were positive. The few people who joined, it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 people, had positive comments. Thank you so much for the heart. So like, that's a great, we build things up to be so crazy in our brains, and it's not true. Like, the fears that you have are not true, but they will hold you back if you don't just do the thing that you're afraid of, that you're scared of. So do it. Like, schedule the live stream, don't just schedule it, do it, like do the live stream, even if you don't feel like you have the perfect words to say yet. Put yourself out there, pitch yourself for the speaking event, like do it, because only good can come from it. Only good can come from it. Either you will have the result that you desired and you'll get to where you wanted to go with it, or you'll learn something along the way that helps you get to where you want to go. That's all that can happen. That's it. So you're either going to grow or you're going to get the result you wanted. Neither of those are bad. Okay. So do it. Like that would be my invitation for you today. Take the next step. What is the thing? Putting the video out there, again, pitching the speaking event, pitching yourself for the podcast, like just do it. Take the next step. You're going to feel so good. You're going to feel so empowered. And I tell you what, like you will, the ripple effect you create. I was on a call yesterday with a former client of mine, and I'm going to go on her podcast this week. And she was like, I love your live streams. And I, like it inspired me to start doing live streams too. And I didn't really know that she was watching them a lot. Like this is the thing. You don't really know who's watching, but she has such an important message to share, and to know that she's now inspired to do more live streams because of mine. Like that was very gratifying. And you showing up and being visible, thank you for the hearts, like you showing up and being visible, it empowers other people to do the same. So this is where we get to pull our heads out of our rear ends in a really loving way and take the action, take the step, like show up and do it, because it's not really about you. It's not really about you. And the only time you get in fear mode is when you make it about you. So we got to let the ego take the back seat. We got to do the inner child work to let our little, our inner 7-year-old feel safe. Now you don't have to do, like, don't let that be an excuse. If we're not coaching together yet, or if you don't have someone to help you do the work, like, don't let that stop you. Put yourself out there, do it, like do it anyway, and get the resources and tools and help that you need, the mentoring you need to help you heal in any of those areas that need to be healed. So it's not even a fear for you anymore. Okay. Let me stop and read comments. Sherry, oh, Michelle, good morning. Sherry's saying, absolutely. I've just started my lives and YouTube channel. Yay. Plus, so true that no one is watching. Yeah. No one watched mine at the beginning. It's not like no one watched anyone's at the beginning. Gary Vee talks about when he started the first few years, it was like 6 or 7 people on his live streams, but it's consistency. It's showing up and it's taking advantage of the time when no one is watching to figure it out, to make the mistakes, to try something new. Like I make plenty of mistakes with mine all the time, and I learn every time I put myself out there, but that's part of the process. And you don't like beat yourself up about it. If you did something and it didn't work out the way you wanted, it's like, oh, okay, I did that. I learned that was cute. Moving on. Like that's it. Zero energy given to beating yourself up, because that's so low vibe and that's way beneath you. Okay. All right, my loves, I think that's it for today. So go listen to the podcast today. It should be out now on your favorite podcast player. It's all about how to build your personal brand with Robin Graham. It's so good. Really, really solid too, from like a strategy standpoint. So I wanted to come in here today on the live stream and share more about like some of the things that may actually be limiting you in terms of building your brand that aren't so much the strategy piece. But go watch that. You're going to get so much value out of it. It's really, really phenomenal. And then tomorrow is all about money, wealth creation, all of some of my favorite topics to talk about. So join me again, 8:30 Eastern on your favorite social media platform. And I will see you all then. You're so welcome, Laura. Have a great day, everyone. See you soon. Bye.